Thanks for joining us. Today we have Dr. Todd Bickling, and he is the CEO of Strong Smiles Dental Care. How are you, Dr. Todd?
Great, Lexi. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for taking time out of your Sunday morning to join me. Have me join you, I guess.
No problem, no problem. Can you tell me a little bit more about your practice and how you got started in dental?
Sure. As you mentioned, I'm the CEO of Strong Smiles Dental Care. We have two locations, both of them located in Maryland, one in Edgewater, one in Odenton. Our claim to fame is that we're open 7 days a week, and we've got extended hours. We're open early in the morning, 7 a.m., as late as 7 p.m., and weekend hours as well. So that's kind of our shtick. I've been a dentist for almost 20 years.
Wow.
I have a bit of a corporate background. I was the chief dental officer of a dental corporation that had 26 offices in Maryland and Virginia. I was the boss of 50 doctors, and I helped grow that corporation from one office to 26 offices in a period of about 8 years. So I've seen a lot of change in my 20 years, and eventually that company got sold to a bigger company, and that's when I decided to branch out and start Strong Smiles Dental Care.
Wow. Interesting. So you've been in business you've been in the industry for 20 years. That's a long time. What's your favorite part about dental?
I really liked the work-life balance. You know, dentists typically work Monday through Thursday, and they've got their nice 3-day weekends, and you can make a good living and have good work-life balance, and you're in a reputable field. But you know, the marketplace is kind of shifting a little bit, and that's kind of why we're open 7 days a week. But I'll get into that more in a bit. But so what you enjoy about the business kind of changes as well, kind of grows. And obviously, the first thing I would say is helping people. You know, that's one of the things I really, really enjoy. I remember a story where I did some cosmetic dentistry on a patient, and he came in for a cleaning after I'd done his work. Said, "Hey, doc, look out the window." And so I looked out the window and I saw a brand new Audi TT convertible. And I said, "Wow, that's a nice car." And he goes, "You know, doc, you bought me that car." And I was like, it took me a second. I was like, because normally patients are accusing them of buying me my car. So I said, "Wait, I bought you that car?" And he goes, "Yeah. You know, when you did my teeth, you gave me confidence. You know, before I was shy, I wouldn't speak up. Now I smile more and I feel more confident and I can speak up in meetings, and I got a big promotion. And with that, I went out and I bought this car." So, I mean, and I've got, you know, a lot of stories about, you know, changing people's lives by changing their smile. Actually, I had a patient yesterday give me a big hug because it was a Saturday and she had a toothache and her dentist was closed. So, of course, she goes online, she finds us, comes in, and she was just so thankful and so grateful that we were able to get her in on a Saturday, and because she was in so much pain. And so, you know, those are the things that kind of really make you feel good when you're really helping people, really changing people's lives. That's one of the things that really makes you feel good. We're trying to grow a corporation here. And part of that vision is helping to give opportunities to staff members that they might not have at other dental practices. So that's another thing I like about the industry.
What's your least favorite part?
Well, as I mentioned, dentistry is changing. Dentistry is not the same as it was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I feel like dentists were a lot more respected by patients. Today, I feel like we're commodities. And the insurance industry is taking a toll on dentistry. I get reimbursed less now for a crown than I did 10 years ago. There are some insurances that are cutting their reimbursement rates last year by as much as 20 or 30%. So it's becoming more and more of a challenge. And of course, my expenses aren't going down. You know, right. So dentistry is becoming more and more of a challenge. The marketplace is shifting, but that's difficult. I mean, if I hear a patient say to me, "Hey, doc, no offense, but I hate the dentist," it can also be very stressful. I mean, I'm sure many of you have heard that old anecdote that dentists have the highest suicide rate, and
Yes.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I do know it's stressful.
Okay.
You know, we do have to see quite a few patients in a day, and patients, I mean, we'll be frank, they don't necessarily want what we're selling. I mean, we put a needle and a drill in their mouth, and, you know, and it costs a lot of money to do that. So, you know, to really build a relationship with a patient, you've got to really be able to empathize with that person. So 20, 30 times a day, we could be jumping in and out of other people's emotional shoes. At the end of the day, it's really, really tiring. It's really exhausting. You know, I think that that's one of the biggest reasons why dentists are so stressed is, you know, they're just jumping in and out of other people's emotional shoes throughout the day. And, you know, at the end of the day, it's pretty tired.
Wow, I can't even imagine. I can't imagine. So would you say there's a demographic that is more difficult to work with, like millennials or, you know, little children or older people, baby boomers?
You mean as far as patients?
Mm-hmm.
No, I, you know, sometimes little kids can be a little difficult. But there are, fortunately, things called pediatric dentists that I refer to. Millennials, you know, millennials get a bad rap. They're the whatever generation, and I guess it's true to some degree. But millennials are also lucky in that they're coming up in an age where they've got better oral health typically than baby boomers. So they have very little problems in their mouths. But it is hard. It is difficult to get a millennial to really give a crap.
Okay. So Dan Kennedy is a strategic marketing coach and author, and he says that businesses struggle in 4 areas. And those areas are money, time, people, and passion. And so which area would you say that you struggle with the most, and which area just does dentistry struggle in general?
Gotcha. So people, especially when you're trying to grow a business, people. I've heard that in dentistry, the average employee stays in one location for 1.5 years.
Oh, wow.
I know that Gallup and Google have done some research on millennials, and a lot of our staff is millennials. You know, millennials, I saw just this morning on Gallup, 60% of millennials are changing jobs every year, as opposed to, you know, 7% of Gen Xers. So keeping people is very difficult, especially when you're trying to grow something. The other thing is money. Banks aren't lending the way that they used to lend, especially since the 2008 credit crisis. So for a corporation that wants to grow, my access to capital becomes very difficult if I'm trying to go through a bank. That's also, but there is actually money out there. There's a lot of money out there. It's called private equity. That's part of the changing landscape of dentistry, is that dentists who are entrepreneurial minded are getting rejection letters from the banks, but on the telephones ringing nonstop from private equity groups, they're saying, hey, come join us. We'll give you some liquidity for these offices that you have. Partner with us. And, you know, so that's really kind of taken over the industry. It's the fastest growing segment in dentistry right now is corporate dentistry, or dentistry that's backed by, you know, money outside of banks.
Okay, interesting. So since you've been around in the industry for 20 years, you know, have you noticed a huge transition in how dentistry is marketed or how patients interact with the dental practice because of social media?
Yes. 20 years ago, or longer even, it used to be taboo to advertise as a dentist. It used to be looked down upon.
Really?
Same thing in other professions, lawyers and things like that. And I believe that there was some lawsuits to allow lawyers to market. But as time goes on and as dentistry changes, and we do have to find different ways of attracting patients. 5 years ago, well, maybe 7 to 10 years ago, I mean, obviously I was not on social media. I was not on advertising on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, you know, Instagram. It was literally either just word of mouth or mailers, flyers.
Okay.
And now I think that marketing does have to take multiple approaches. Younger generations do like electronic marketing more so than older generations. So we do kind of attack it from different angles. And I wasn't doing that 10 years ago. I wasn't doing that 15, 20 years ago.
Okay. Interesting. So outside of work, how would your family and friends describe you?
That's a difficult question because I'm a bit of an ambivert. Sometimes I'm very energetic and talkative, and other times I'm just very quiet and reserved. So I guess you're going to have to talk to an individual. If it's going to depend on the individual circumstance and time of day. But I can be very quiet. Sometimes I just want to sit down and watch YouTube videos or something like that. And sometimes I just want to go out and ride my bicycle, get some energy out. So.
Okay. What are your passions? Like, what are you most passionate about?
I really, really want to. I want to help change people's lives, and it doesn't just mean doing the dentistry to change their lives. One of the things I really enjoyed from my corporate background is seeing people's lives change through opportunities, and that really makes me feel good. So that's part of what drives me, is to grow this corporation to give people opportunities. But they have to be built, just because I offer an opportunity doesn't mean it's just going to come instantly. I mean, the work really has to be done. I think people underestimate how much hustle and hard work that goes into really creating something. But when we find the right people and they put in the work and the effort and we create something new, man, that just makes you feel good.
You seem to really kind of have a handle on both sides of it, the medical side, but also the business side. And so if there was a piece of advice that you could give to these other doctors out here that are stressed and that are kind of between dealing with patients and making them happy, between, kind of all the different things that can stress a doctor out and pressure a doctor, what would that piece of advice be?
There's nothing in dental school taught about business. And I believe that what little bit is taught is completely wrong. We are taught to explain. And our expertise in our explanations is what gets patients to say yes to the treatment that they need. And I don't believe that at all. When I was a young dentist, I used to explain the crap out of these procedures and nobody would say yes. Patients would need the work, but they wouldn't say yes. And as time went on, I found out that the explaining really has no bearing on whether a patient says yes or no. We have to do it. I mean, legally and ethically and morally, we have to give patients enough information so that they can make a sound decision. But that's not what gets patients to say yes to the treatment that they need. What gets them to say yes is the relationship. What gets them to say yes is me putting myself into their shoes, understanding them as a person, and then somehow fitting that dentistry into it. I tell young doctors, we've got 7 doctors that work for us. I tell young doctors that this is not what gets patients to say yes to dentistry. This is right here. These here, I call these my trust collectors. And I collect the patient's trust by using these, not by using this.
I love that. So what's a successful life for you then?
I would like to win a national championship on my bicycle. I race bikes, so.
Oh, wow.
But in any case, but from a business perspective, I want to build something that lasts. I want to build something that can support dozens, if not hundreds of families.
So where can viewers learn more about you?
It's Dr. Bickling at Gmail. It's DrBickling@gmail.com. Our website is strongsmilesdental.com. That's our web address for the business.
All right. Thank you so much for doing this interview with me.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for taking time out of your weekend.